Hey Dan, this is Adam here. So first up, I'd say you got a really good technique, especially for your handicap level. So often I'll look at a player's technique and just kind of guess what their handicap would be, and you got a lot of good things in there. So your setup is pretty good, your posture's good, backswing position looks great, downswing position here looks really good, through impact you look excellent as well. From face on, a lot of good things there. A little bit of an early release, we'll talk about that in a moment, but there's a load of things you should be proud of in there. So now, before I give you the whole plan, it is a big plan, okay? This is not like a one-off lesson with a pro. I'm giving you a lifetime's worth of content. Now, I'm obviously going to be here for you if you need help in the future as well. But basically, I'm giving you everything so you can teach yourself. Now, the important things that this is what determines a player's golf success, right? I'm sure you've heard me talk about these things before, but where you strike on the face, toe or heel, is going to be huge. So this is heel, this is toe. We're looking for it to be within the center, pretty much the center third of the groove part of the face. So, if you hit a shot and it's like this, just take the very center of that mark and you can see that's right on the edge there. So when getting information, just spray the face with CVS foot spray. It's like a blue bottle, or Dr. Scholl. CVS is cheaper though and more reliable. So CVS foot spray, but also look at the vertical contact. And what I mean by that is, if you make a mark that's like this and you take the very center of that, we would say that that's between groove 3 and 4, which is absolutely perfect, the perfect height on the face. In fact, anywhere between groove 3 and 5 is going to be a good goal. Now, you're not going to get this every time, so that would be good. Anything like this is obviously too high on the face, and that equates to a fat contact, a ground early contact. And then anything like this, obviously thin on the face. Now, we can adjust that very, very simply. How I do it personally, when I'm doing a lot of my practice, if I'm hitting too low on the face, I literally just try and dig deeper for the next one. It doesn't have to be complicated. If you're hitting low on the face like that, just try to dig deeper. I'm going to give you some technical drills as well, but we want to learn to master our intent. And if you're hitting high in the face like that, just try and pick it off the surface. So if people sometimes say, what do you mean pick it? I just say, imagine you're in sand and the ball is resting on sand, and I want you to take the ball off without disturbing the sand. So that's what picking it feels like. And you just get better at that over time. And actually, the more you practice hitting intentionally higher on the face and then doing a few lower on the face, the better you'll get at controlling that. It's not so fun to do because it'll feel a little bit, low on the face or high in the face don't feel great. So you could do that with a foam ball if you don't like the feel of it. But just practicing higher and lower on the face, that's a skill drill. And likewise, I actually ask people to intentionally hit out of the toe and the heel of the club. So I'd give you a task of 10 shots on the toe third, 10 shots on the heel third, 10 shots on the middle, and you're just constantly tracking and seeing which one you're good at. Whichever one you're worst at, that's one you should practice more often. And as you get better at that drill, you'll get better hitting your desired shot, right? So hitting our desired shot is called calibration, whereas hitting different segments of the face, high, low, toe, heel, is classed as a differential practice drill. Now, in terms of direction, one of the drills that I found very successful when people do this, and I would highly suggest you do this, is if this is your target here, I would say to you, make a few swings and maybe hit 5-10 balls and try and present the face closed so that you hit the ball 6 fingers right. Okay, and the finger system will make sense to you as you read the PDF that I sent you. Then do 6 fingers left. It equates to about 30 yards left or right. So this is your extreme, though these are your extremes. Now, the reason why we do this, actually, I'll go through a bit more. Then do another 5 shots where you're hitting 4 fingers right, then 4 fingers left, then 2 fingers right, then 2 fingers left. So you're basically playing around with the scale. You're trying to present the face more open to hit more left or more closed to hit more right. And you're trying to figure out how to do it successfully. First time people try this, they hit it awfully. Doesn't matter. The goal is you keep practicing these drills and you get much better at controlling the club face. So the goal of the drill is to build like a feel database for this is what more right feels like, this is what more left feels like, because that comes very in handy when it comes to hitting your desired shot. So now, for example, imagine you're practicing and you hit a shot that goes 2 fingers left. Well, now you know what it feels like to hit 2 fingers, 4 fingers, 6 fingers right, so you can just implement some of that feel. Similarly, if you know what it feels like to hit toe, and you know what it feels like to hit heel, then whenever you make a mistake, it's easy to recalibrate it back to the center. Okay, feel is not real. So calibration is all about, I say it's using the golden rule, which is to take the fault and feel the opposite. So what do I mean by that? If your fault is to hit out the toe, well, feel the opposite. Intend to hit more out of the heel until that strike is centered. I'm a toe bias player as well. And if you go on Instagram and look at my videos of me playing, you'll see I actually set up out of the heel. So when I'm playing golf, I basically try to hit here. I don't. My shots are centered. But my intent is to hit the yellow area because my natural pattern is a toe shot. That's absolutely fine. Feel is not real. Similarly, I naturally hook it to if I was left-handed, I hook it to the right, or my mistake is more to the right. So when I'm playing golf, I almost feel like the face is some degree open at impact. You wouldn't know it because all my shots, well, not all of them, but most of my shots go on the yellow line. They go straight. But you don't see what I'm feeling. So it's okay for feel and real to not match. So these are classed as skill trainings, right? Hitting high, low on the face, hitting toe or heel, hitting left and right intentionally, and then calibrating it down once you've built those feels. Those are skill trainings, and that should account for probably about 40-50% of your practice. The schedule will outlay that for you. Now, the other types of training we can do, if you're prepping for a tournament or a round of golf that you want to play well for, you obviously don't have to do this if you're not a big tournament guy, but maybe in the future you want to do this, or if there's just a round of golf you want to peak for, you can pick targets like a 4-finger wide target, and then you can run certain tests. So some examples for you would be different swing thoughts. So you might test, right, I'm going to hit a smooth 7 versus a hard 8. And then you see which one produces the most on-target shots for you. So if your smooth 7 hits more targets for you, that's the strategy you're going to use on the golf course. Something advanced that I do is I hit draws into the target versus fades versus trying to hit as straight as possible, and I see which one produces the best outcomes. There's lots of things you can test, different swing thoughts. And the last type of training is basically if you find that you're decent on the range, but when you get on the golf course, it goes to hell. That's a transference issue. So one of the ways you can practice this is to have a target on the left side, a target down the middle, target down the right, and then just mix it up. Step out of the bay, hit a driver down the left side. Step out of the bay, grab your wedge, hit a wedge down the right side. Step out of the bay, grab your 7-iron, hit a 7-iron down the middle. So basically you are going through your full routine each time, and you're picking different targets, picking different clubs each time, just like real golf. So now you may perform a little worse when you do that, but the learning will improve. Learning is not the same as performance, right? You could stand all day and beat balls with a 7-iron and look great, hit ball after ball after ball, look great, and then go out on the range and go out on the course and spray it everywhere. If that's the case, then you need to do more realistic transference training. I see you're on a mat as well. This is why when you're on a mat, it's very important to look at the vertical contact. As I said, between groove 3 and 5 is the ideal. The reason why I say that is mats will give you a false sense of security. In fact, I've seen people hit this high on the mat, hit this high on the face, which on grass would be about 3 inches fat. And the result is good on a mat. So it gives you a false sense of security. But if you're monitoring face strike, you won't get away with it. It's like a little secret. All right, the last type of training, and this is going to be kind of the meat of this, is the technical work. So now technique work is where we change the movement to change an outcome. Okay, so I'm going to give you a series of drills Now, here's the key, and this can get very dangerous if you don't take this advice on board. Do not do all of these drills that I give you. Okay, don't do all of these drills I give you. Only do one of the drills that I give you, and just make sure that drill is relevant, right? So what I'm going to give you is a toolbox, effectively. I'm going to give you a tool to fix toe shots and a tool to fix heel shots. I'm going to give you a tool to fix fat shots and a tool to fix thin shots. And then I'm going to give you a tool to fix left outcomes and a tool to fix right outcomes. So effectively, you got a bag of tricks that allows you to fix yourself. But you've got to use the right tool for the right job. If you're shanking it, if you're hitting the heel and you use the toe tool, you're going to make it worse. So don't worry about that. I will put it in bullet point format for you in the email, so it makes it very, very easy. So let me analyze your swing and just say where certain things come from. So I know you said your predominant patterns at the moment are toe, thin, and left. Right, the left shot just comes from a face that's too open. That's all. So your left shots come from a face that's too open. There's a couple of reasons why this left-hand grip is very weak. The V created between the thumb and forefinger here points this direction. It should point more towards your left shoulder. We're going to change that in a moment. That's going to help you close the face. Now, any right errors or fat shots that you would hit come from the fact you have an early release. So an early release is basically this 90-degree-ish hinge between the club shaft and the forearm there. You cast it or throw it away early. So we can see your club lines up with your lead forearm here, which is very early. It's about 2 feet before the ball. Most pros are going to line up at impact. And that can create fat shots. In fact, when you get to impact, your club is almost leaning backwards, which, can create some high, weak shots, can create fat contacts as well. So that's where the fat and even the right shots may come from, because the early release is a face closing move. Let's have a look here. And the toe shots. Now, the toe shots come from, you stand a little bit far away from it. And what I mean by that is if I draw a line down from the midpoint of your hands, it's not bad. But most pros are going to have their hands either, let me do it in green. They're going to have their hands here to here. That's the kind of box that we see pros have their hands in. So you're just a little bit outside of that, which isn't the end of the world. There are some players who are like yourself, but we can move that. That's low-hanging fruit. And also, if you look at your hand height at address here, and then we look at your hand height at impact, you can see your hands are much higher at impact. They've gone up 2-3 inches. And so when the hands go up, when they enter impact higher, you're going to strike toes or thin shots, which is exactly what you do. And it actually opens the face a little bit as well. So that's the analysis of the swing. What are the drills then? Well, if you're ever hitting toe shots, which you are, I would just move an inch or two closer to it until your hands are over, say, your toenails. The midpoint of your hands are over the toenails. Let me give you a visual of that. Tiger would be the more extreme version of this. This was Tiger 2000. You can see the midpoint of his hands are over, where the toes meet the feet. That's extreme. Not many pros are that extreme, but that's, that would be, having the midpoint of your hands like here. So that's a good 3, 4, 5 inches closer to it. I wouldn't say go that extreme, but that's just what Tiger does. So it's just an example. So yeah, if you're hitting toes, do that. Now, if you're ever hitting heel shots, don't worry about this drill right now. But if in the future you're ever hitting heel shots, just watch that the hands don't creep out away from your body too far. Can you see how they started behind this yellow line? And by the time they reach impact, they've gone a little bit too far away there. So all I would say there, drill for that. A drill for that would be, I can actually flip the videos. It's a little awkward, but so you're going to swing back down and stop here like this, pre-impact, around about here. And all you're going to do is just feel or imagine the hands are back in that slot, closer to your thighs, or back over the, back over the toenails again. So the hands get closer to the thighs like this, if you watch me, there. And then just hit that slot in space once, twice, 3 times, swing through. Again, that is not a drill I want you to do right now, but if ever in the future you're hitting heel shots, that drill will help you fix heel shots. Okay, so toe shots, you're going to stand closer to it right now. Heel shots, you're going to enter the hands back closer to your body. Now with left shots, what I want you to do is to strengthen the left hand grip. So what that looks like is what it looks like is when you place your hand on like this, I want you to make sure it feels like it's in the, towards the base of the fingers here, or like this. Okay, so almost where the fingers meet the hand, so towards the base of the fingers. Then wrap the palm, the fingers around it, and place the left hand on like this. Now you should be able to see just about one knuckle, and the V created between the thumb and forefinger will point off towards your left shoulder, like this. At the moment, yours points off to your right shoulder. So basically, you're turning the hand more this way on the club. Okay, so one knuckle, V points towards your left shoulder. I've actually got it in a stronger grip position just to highlight that. This would be, more of a typical position there. So you can see I can see one knuckle there. So that would be the position. That's going to help you to close the face a little bit more. Another drill you can do, and I know this sounds like a lot, but if the grip in itself doesn't stop the left shots, another drill you can do is, again, same drill as before, where you swing back down and stop like this. Swing back down and stop here. Just pre-impact, like around about there somewhere. What I'd want you to do is, if you watch my wrists here, I want you to flex the lead wrist. Now what that means is, imagine pointing the knuckles of the right hand more towards the ground. Or you could think of pointing the palm of the left hand more towards the ground. So if you watch what I do now, 3, 2, 1, there. Okay, so you can see the palm of my left hand is pointing more towards the ground. Knuckles of my right hand is pointing more towards the ground as well. That effectively closes the face. Okay, so we see it before I do that. The club face, the leading edge is like this. So the face is there. And then after, when you add flexion, it points the face more towards the ground. So I've just closed the face by 45 degrees more. You don't have to do that much, but a little bit of this can go a long way. Once you've got that position, do 3 bumps like this. 1, 2, 3, and then swing through. Now that would be something, if you're missing to the left and you've taken a stronger grip, and it's not working to change it, that is an extra drill you can do and train it. And the goal of these drills, by the way, is to train them, put a bunch of reps in, and eventually we start to have that part as part of our automatic swing. So I'm not saying to think of these things on the golf course. I'm saying to drill them, repeat them, repeat them, repeat them until they become part of muscle memory. So we got something for left misses, which is this lead wrist flexion drill or the grip. Now, what about right misses? If you start to miss the shot to the right, we want to address this release of yours. Okay, so you have an early release, as I mentioned. You throw those angles away. That club lines up with your lead forearm too early. So a later release is going to look like this. It's actually a simple drill. It's not easy though. Easy and simple are not the same things. You're going to swing back and make like a 90-degree hinge, or even more. You can see I've hinged that club back a ton there. So you're making a back swing like this, fully hinging the wrists. So you can see I'm like this there. So bend the wrist back a lot more. And then what I want you to do is to imagine throwing those angles away, casting those angles. But I want you to make a swish. So listen for the swish of the club. And I want the loudest part to be here, way in front of the golf ball in the yellow area. So you're going to swing back and swish. Okay, so the swish is going to be later. Swish. Now, how do you know if you're doing this? Well, when you video your swing, you'll see a couple of things. Number one, at impact, or if you had a ball in the way, you'd have more forward shaft lean as opposed to yours is kind of backward shaft lean. Okay, so more forward shaft lean, that would be a good indicator that you're doing this effectively. And number two, more importantly, the lineup point where the club overtakes or lines up with the lead forearm is going to happen later. Okay, so you are in the red area. Right, you're in the red area. I'm in the yellow area, which is like there. The reality is we probably want it to be kind of green, somewhere in between. But if you're red, you may have to feel a yellow in order to change it. Now, this drill is not easy, okay? 95% of people who have lessons have an early release. Right, and the players who don't are usually professionals or plus figure handicaps. So it's a very high correlator with level of play. But be patient with yourself. I wouldn't expect to change this overnight. Okay, I would say with practice swings, you should be able to get the lineup point to about here. But when you put a ball in the way, it's going to revert back. It's all part of the process. Just see it as, if each week, if every month you get incrementally closer and closer and closer, if it takes you a year to get a pro-like release, that's amazing progression. Okay, so be patient with yourself here. But now, when would a later release be valuable? Well, a later release is great if you are missing to the right because it tends to open the face. And or if you're hitting fat shots, a later release can be good as well. So any right misses or fat shots, that's when you switch into training a later release. Okay. Now, what about thin shots then? So we've got toe and heel covered. We've got left and right covered. We've got a fat shot fix as well. We don't have thin shots. Now, thin shots come from the fact, as I said, your hands at impact are higher up than where they were at address. Okay, so your hands here, your hand height is here at address. By the time you reach impact, they're higher up. Okay, a little bit of that's fine. Too much of it is going to create thins and toes. So what we want to do again is same drill. Luckily, I'm giving you a drill that has multiple uses. You are going to feel as if your hands enter lower. So what that looks like is this. You're going to swing back down and stop like this. So same position as you are in here. And what I want you to imagine is a location in space that is lower. And I want you to, if you watch me, you're going to stretch down, squat down, bend your knees if you need to, get your chest more over it, stretch your arms down a little bit. Bend down so you hit that slot and then hit it 3 times. Once, twice, 3 times, then swish through. Okay, or as another view of that, as a different view of that, what you would imagine is swing back down and kind of stop maybe here, something like that. And just imagine a wall in space here. And you're going to hit, instead of hitting the yellow spot on the wall, you're going to hit the green spot on the wall with the butt of the club. Okay, I'll show you that now, but I'm not going to flip it. I'm not going to flip this one left-handed, but you'll get the idea. So you're going to hinge the wrists like that, and you're going to imagine a wall here. And I want you to hit nice and low on that wall with the butt end of the club. So if you watch me, I'm hitting butt of the club into the wall once, twice, 3 times. You can see how low I'm hitting on the wall. And then you swish through. Okay, so that would be your thin shot fix, hands entering lower. That'll also help to reduce some of the toe shots as well. Now, that's a lot of information. As I said, I've given you 6 drills effectively. I've given you, if you're toey, stand closer to it. If you're heely, hands enter closer to your thighs. If you're missing left, stronger grip or lead wrist flexion. If you're missing right, later release. If you're missing fat, later release. And if you're missing thin, hands enter lower. It's a lot. But luckily you don't have to do it all. You can just pick the one thing that you need. So say, for example, you're practicing and you're like, oh God, everything's toey today. Let's just stand a little closer to it to reduce that. So that's how you should do it. Or say next day you're hitting everything and you're like, you know what, everything's going to the right today. Adam said to do a later swish. So let's practice that for the next 20 minutes or so. So you do the drill that relates to your issue. Now there is one cheat here. There is a way of doing multiple things at once. And that way is this. You are going to swing back down and stop here. And then you're going to change whatever you need. So the options are here. If you're hitting thin, feel as if your hands are lower. If you're hitting fat, I'll go through the fat shot in a moment. If you're hitting heel, feel as if your hands are closer to your thighs, back over your toes. If you are hitting, if you're missing to the left, you could feel lead wrist flexion here. And then once you've got those things, you can do your 3 bumps and go. So you could actually get 3 things with that. And even in the going, you could feel like it's a later swish, as if the speed is out here. So if you wanted to do multiple things at once, you potentially could there. But just be careful, if you feel like you're overwhelmed and you're not getting anything, then stick to the do one thing approach. And with that as well, these drills that I've just given you, these movement drills, these are things you should be doing in training only. Do not do these things on the course. When you're on the course, stick to simple things. Like if you're hitting toey, try and hit more heel. If you're missing shots to the left, try and present the face closed and do your practice swings and your waggles, integrating that feel. So play more on feel. But when you're training, when your schedule says technique work, you can work on these movement drills. And by the way, just like anything, these things get easier with practice. So the first time you do a movement drill, you'll probably hit it awful. That's okay. That's normal. But after a week, a month of doing the training drill, you'll hit it better. And your movement will start to change as well. And then after enough time, it'll just be part of your normal swing. You won't even have to think about it. So yeah, just like changing your passcode on your phone. The first few times you have to pick it up, you mess up, you put the old code in, you make mistakes with it, and you have to think about it really hard. But after enough repetitions with the new code, you don't think about it. It's just automatic. You pick your phone up and you sometimes even forget what your code is. So yeah, those are the drills there. Now with the driver, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, honestly, the simple thing here, you just topped this ball, okay, which is an extreme thin shot. A top shot is an extreme thin shot. Now, honestly, if you were in a lesson with me, I would literally just say to you, hit the pink tee. Right, just practice hitting the tee. And if you keep missing it, if you keep swinging over the top of the tee, I'd say go lower, lower, lower. So really simple things with, you can use simple intents to change these things. And just, a practice drill, you can line up 10 tees and just work on clipping the tees. That's what I did as a kid. Now, obviously, if you need the mechanical drill, then hands entering lower would be the thing that fixes this topped or thin shot. But, I probably wouldn't think like that with a driver. You don't have to do the later swish with the driver, so don't worry about that, because we're never going to hit fat shots with the driver, so don't worry about the later swish with the driver. If you are missing to the left, then yes, strengthen that grip position, get that left hand more, pointing towards the left shoulder, as we talked about. Lead wrist flexion as well, you can train lead wrist flexion with the driver. Yeah, you definitely could add lead wrist flexion there. One drill you could do with the driver that's slightly different to the other ones is the nail drill. So maybe you've heard me talk about this, but basically it's just visualizing a nail through the ball like this. And for you, you're going to mentally angle that nail more to the left. All right, because you cut across it a little bit. Your swing, your club swings this way across it in the red direction. All right, you're cutting across it. That's why you hit kind of fadey shots. Okay, so if the fade gets too big, just visualize the nail angled more to the left like that, and then practice. What it would look like is, you're visualizing that nail angle to the left, then you're just practicing hammering that nail more to the left. Obviously, if the ball goes to the left, then you're going to do more of a grip change or a lead flexion change. This is me training that, hammering that nail in that direction. And once I got enough practice swings, I hit it. But if you miss a shot, say you miss a shot that goes straight right, no curvature, goes straight right, that's a sign that you need to do the nail drill. So again, I'll put this in your email summary there. So yeah, those are the drills. The hardest part for you is going to be, as I said, it's a lot of information. So I would spend a week literally just reading through the materials and just slowly add drills over time. Check your schedule. Your schedule will say what type of training you should do. So say, for example, it says differential or experimental training. That's where you might go off and you spend time hitting toe, heel, left, right intentionally, higher, lower on the face. That's differential training. If your schedule says technique training, that's where you would do a movement drill for half an hour or however long you have.